AchieveRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AchieveRadio.
Here we go now. Go to the Carolyn. Here we go now. Here we go now. The wellness scene with Dr. D. Here we go now. Here we go now. Go to the Carolyn. The wellness scene with Dr. D.
Welcome, everybody, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on Achieve Radio this Monday, April 1st, otherwise known as April Fool's Day. But what we know, and you already know what I'm going to say, you know I'm going to say, we are not fools if we are hanging out with Dr. Dean. I know you know. I'm going to say that this is Jimmy Sanders, also known as Jimmy Almighty, and I will be with you for the next 2 hours along with Dr. Carolyn Dean. And we're going to have so much fun tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because I'll tell you, we are winning at such a high and epic level about all the things that matter to us. And this health, vitality, and well-being thing is just so neat. It is so cool to be able to tune in every Monday night and talk to people from around the world who are having hope in an otherwise very dark and hopeless world when it comes to health. We see the commercials. We know the forecast. We understand the food supply. We all know what's going on. But where are the answers? And this is why we turn to Dr. Carolyn Dean, who for the last 35 years has been at the leading edge of creation on the very precipice of these incredible discoveries, which she has now formulated and has firmly in the reins of her hands. And she knows where we stand with the intelligence of the body, how to give it those basic building blocks, and how to coax it along through gratitude, through appreciation, through joy, into its optimum well-being. And we're so happy to have her with us this evening. And not only is she willing to talk about her products, but she's willing to talk about today's trendy topics and also things that are important to our listening audience. And one of the things that's super important to them is their family. How do you evoke and evolve your family and encourage them to take their power back, to take responsibility for their health, and to make good health choices that could include, supplementation as well as lifestyle choices, and also how to make those little mindset adjustments that may need to be made so that they can experience optimum wellness. Well, Carolyn has the answers to all that for you, and she's going to be speaking about it tonight. Before I bring her on, let me just remind you that she is, in fact, an author. Oh, my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, she has written so many books. Lord. And including the Magnesium Miracle, the most epic, never duplicated, never could be possibly replicated, 600 medical references about the value and the purpose of magnesium supplementation for the body, as well as all of her other books, her Kindles, her webinars, her education. Her public education alone is well beyond that of most any doctor I've ever been aware of, all for free, distributed freely and easily out of her joy, out of her love. She is a gift giver. She is a joy bringer, and she offers that easily. So people have this option to challenge themselves and to bring themselves into this level of awareness and also this personal responsibility. So she's an author. She's a doctor. She's an MD. She's got herbalist in her background. She's got, acupuncturist. She's got everything. I'm sure somewhere she's probably done some tightrope walking over Niagara Falls. I haven't seen the video, but knowing her level of accomplishment, I would not be surprised. Anyway, I flatter her tremendously out of my joy and my love for her. So happy to have her with us again this Monday evening. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Hello, Ginny. Thank you very much. Tightrope walker. It is so funny in our house. Just when Bob dials in to get me on the radio show, because he's in control of the phones, his phone, as soon as he does that, he goes in the kitchen and he starts banging around and rushing around to get whatever he's doesn't seem to realize until 2 minutes before the show that he needs to make his protein drink or whatever. So here I am, all excited because I had to yell at Bob to be quiet. And when I yelled at him, he dropped everything.
Ginny, you know that Carolyn makes all kinds of noises during my Saturday show. It's only fair of me to attack in reaction.
Yes, that is fair.
Yeah.
Turnabout is always fair play, Bob. That's exactly right. And for all of you new listeners, this is Dr. Dean's husband, Bob, our very own Bob, who has his own radio show. Very eclectic, highly intellectual, fun, great music on Saturday nights here on Achieve Radio. And so you can always tune in and listen to Bob, too. Upgrade your imagination, right?
I call Bob the comedian philosopher. So he's on Achieve Radio. He's wiping down the cupboards now. Oh, my gosh. How can I live? How has this gone on for 52 years? Tell me that.
It's love. It's love, Carolyn. That's the only explanation.
Yeah, love is a force field. All righty. Well, that was quite an introduction, Ginny. Amazing introduction. Actually, where is there? There's an audio YouTube of Ginny's introductions. Bob had Michael Brown in South Africa put together Ginny's introductions because they're so awesome. Where can people find that if they want to, Ginny?
Oh, yeah, I'll post it on the chat line. It's on Michael Brown's channel. I'll see if I can find it and post it on the chat line.
That'd be fun. Okay, so Ginny's blog for today, which is our weekly blog announcing the show, you can find all the words at drcarolyndeanlive.com. And it's about supporting our friends and family in the elderly group. And this was inspired because we have a customer, longtime customer, Susanna, who's been guiding her mother. So let me just get the highlights of the blog, and then we'll talk about Susanna's mom. And so the blog reads, elderly people in the U.S. represent an emerging high-risk group for nutritional deficiencies, of course. Aging in our industrialized society is associated with high blood pressure, heart disease, reduced insulin sensitivity, and type 2 diabetes, among other degenerative diseases. And what our magnesium researchers say is that the calcification that is created by a lack of magnesium in our bodies is responsible for aging. And if anybody's read my book, Magnesium Miracle, they know that blood pressure, heart disease, reduced insulin sensitivity, and type 2 diabetes are magnesium deficiency symptoms or conditions. We're not allowed to say that magnesium is a cure for these conditions because that makes magnesium a drug, but what people have is magnesium deficiency, and then they're misdiagnosed as having these conditions. And the really bad part of all this is that medicine has not tried to either find or utilize the best testing for magnesium deficiency. There is a test called the ionized magnesium test by Nova. NOVA is the company that made the electrodes that test for ionized magnesium. They have ionized calcium electrodes, and I think for zinc as well. But they've just, I don't know, have they purposely ignored promoting the ionized magnesium electrodes? Because what happens when they don't properly test for magnesium, they leave all these, I have 65 conditions listed in the Mag Miracle book. They leave all these conditions to be misdiagnosed. So people just think, doctors especially think, if you're over even 50 or 60, that all your symptoms are just aging and you're in the chronic degenerative disease category and you need half a dozen drugs. But anyway, on with the blog, one study of nursing home residents linked low magnesium levels with diabetes and leg cramps. A Gallup poll reported that magnesium consumption decreases as we age, with 79% of adults over 55 eating below the very low RDA of magnesium. And the ability to absorb magnesium declines with age. Now, of course, that's not a problem with our Remag because it absorbs directly and immediately through the cells starting in the mouth when you start swallowing your diluted Remag. Elderly people who do not eat an adequate diet and those on prescription drugs deplete the body's magnesium, etc., etc. Antacids taken by many older people to cover up symptoms of a poor diet is a strong brew of calcium and aluminum that depletes magnesium and adds to the neurological burden of the elderly. Several studies show that severe neurological problems result from extremely low levels of magnesium in the brain, and that can be caused by the chronic use of diuretics, which millions of people are given to control high blood pressure. And high blood pressure is very often a magnesium deficiency symptom. Most doctors prescribe potassium to replace the loss of minerals from a diuretic, but forget about magnesium. And on the topic of neurological problems, what happened in the commercialization of magnesium this past decade is patented magnesium L-threonate. After a rat study, the results were that this magnesium threonate improved the magnesium absorption into the cerebral spinal fluid by 7% more than magnesium citrate. With that teeny tiny increase, the company promoted magnesium L-threonate as the only magnesium that could get through the blood-brain barrier. And that's really erroneous because even magnesium oxide at 4% absorption has positive effects on the brain. So it's gone so commercial, and of course I'm in the commercial world of selling my Remag, but what we know and what we're proving with the studies that we have undertaken is that magnesium in the form of Remag is the magnesium that is so well absorbed, has so little laxative effect, is so effective that people can take it along with any drug. They can take it for any medical condition. And as their body is repleted with magnesium, it often happens that people don't require handfuls of other supplements. Their medication is no longer necessary because the diseases for which they took their drugs are no longer present, et cetera, et cetera. And we're getting more and more empowered to say these words because we've been at this a long time and we've seen the results. And here's what Susanna says, and she writes a long story. You can read the whole thing by going to Ginny's blog at drcarolyndeanlive.com. She says her mom celebrated her 91st birthday September 18th. Been in fairly good health, but she did have rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis in her knees. She was taking pain medications, methotrexate, which is it's one of these autoimmune drugs. It's a cancer drug, but they use it to kind of beat back the immune system in autoimmune conditions like rheumatoid. She was taking calcium, multivitamin, and vitamin D, and Fosamax for osteoporosis. She wouldn't add anything else unless instructed by her rheumatologist because she was afraid of the very bad rheumatoid pain that she gets without these drugs. After a couple of years of living with Susanna's RNA drop exhalations, the rheumatologist was surprised to see that her mom's inflammatory markers were decreasing with each blood test. Now, some of our new listeners may not be aware of our RNA reset drops and how the exhalations of them, the little drops that get into the sewage system, they are changing people and they're changing the world. We truly believe that. They have remarkable abilities for life. If you want to know more about the RNA reset drops, just go to our webinar, RNA Reset Webinar, and in it you'll find a little video in my discussion of our radish experiment, the plot of land where we put the actually the waste material left over from making our RNA reset drops, that waste material, the dried barley that was left over, we put it in one plot. We didn't put it in the other plot, the plot with the RNA reset, what we call MASH. We produced 85 pounds of saleable radishes. I'm trying to find the word. What did we do? We harvested. Yeah, 85 pounds of beautiful radishes. The other plot, we harvested 3 pounds. The rest of the radishes were chewed up by worms and bugs and just looked bad. And the reason being is the RNA reset drops are alive. They are prebiotic, probiotic. They affect the soil bacteria. In fact, they probably are soil bacteria themselves that is enhanced by the growing process, our production process. So these RNA drops, they used to be called RNA drops, that Susanna was exhaling around her mother. She said, well, that's what's making her inflammation go down, and her bone density test was so good that the doctor took Susanna's mother off her Fosamax, thank goodness, because that has many side effects. And then Susanna goes on. One of the side effects of the pain medications is constipation, also anxiousness, and difficulty sleeping. She said she really wanted her mom to take the Remag. She wouldn't, so what she did August 2017, began replacing her hand lotion with Remag lotion, which she applies religiously after washing her hands. So she was getting a good daily dose of magnesium. After 3 months, the discoloration and scars on the skin of her hands and arms was noticeably less. Today, her arms and hands have an even skin tone color and a warm glow. Susanna noticed that the knuckles of her hands and fingers were diminishing. She no longer had the rheumatoid hands, and her thumbs, which were almost 100% frozen where she couldn't use them, are now normal. She can bend her thumbs. And her blood tests no longer showed that she had rheumatoid arthritis. Of course, the rheumatologist was pretty surprised. She was also sleeping better and is calmer, and then she finally agreed to do Remag liquid because Susanna and a couple of sisters are also taking the products. And after 6 weeks, no more bowel issues, no more constipation. And this year, our 91-year-old customer began mowing the lawn again in the spring. She did it without any soreness or stiffness or lethargy or low energy. And then her hair, which has been snow white for years, hair color is coming back, and she exclaims that she must be getting younger. So that's what we can do for any age, actually. But if you have to sneak in the Remag lotion, just go ahead, because it's perfectly safe. You can take it with any health condition or any medication or any supplements. We tell people, if they so desire, they can take it into the hospital with them and just put it in a hand lotion body cream. We didn't have that many. Well, actually, we only have the one mailbag question from a customer. My elderly mother-in-law, age 94, has recently been showing signs of having sundowner syndrome. Now, this is a neurological phenomenon associated with increased confusion and restlessness in patients. And they say it's in patients with some form of dementia, but I don't know if that's true. If you look at my Magnesium Miracle book, where I talk about aging, some of the symptoms of aging can be confusion and restlessness. There can be some paranoia as well. I think it's magnesium deficiency. I'll say that until you prove me otherwise. Yes, and the customer said she's becoming more and more paranoid, thinking people are stealing her money or looking in the windows at night. Can the Completement formulas help in this area to balance the brain? She's been taking medications for rheumatoid arthritis for many years. So absolutely, go ahead with the Remag lotion if you want to start that way. And then with the Remag liquid, Remite is going to be very helpful too. So there's just no reason why that shouldn't help. And there was something that came up where someone, I don't know if I wrote a blog about your brain. Magnesium can change your brain. There's a lot of focus on brain health these days. Mark Hyman, who I knew in New York, he's got a webinar. Well, what is it? A webinar or one of these online conferences called The Broken Brain Part 2. And if they aren't using Remag, forget about it. You really have to go with a magnesium that is going to get into your brain. And a customer said that she's done our protocol, done the Completement formulas, and also done something called Dynamic Neural Retraining System for the brain. She's been trying to get them interested in magnesium and Remag, and she said this DNRS program, Dynamic Neural Retraining System, a natural drug-free neuroplasticity-based healing program that can help you recover from many health conditions. So she said she tried to talk to the author of this program about it, and she said she wasn't that well received, but she says for herself how well she's doing. And what we find more and more is people who've created a protocol or a program themselves will say, well, just do my protocol, don't do anything else. I mean, they're doing the experiment. They're trying to prove what they're doing is all you require, but it really isn't. You really have to look at the physical aspects of a person's body. You have to look at the cells. We're saying give the cells the building blocks, and you can then train them to do much more. The other day I was talking to someone who does counseling for, I don't know if it was stress or mental health problems, and I was making the case that, well, why don't you give people Remag as well? It has to be done on the physical level, and she did agree, but unlike a pharmacist who was at the same table who said right away, well, I want a job. I want a job with you. I'm going to quit pharmacy. I hate giving drugs to people. I don't believe it anymore, but I really want your Remag she was one of these people who knew she had magnesium deficiency, and she couldn't take magnesiums because of the laxative effect. And then when we met her partner, he piped right up and said, yeah, I was taking all these medications for depression, and it was really magnesium deficiency. And when I started taking magnesium, that all went by the wayside. So it's out there. Magnesium awareness is out there, but seriously, we have to start telling people about REMAG awareness. So the brain, let me just follow up one little thing. Mark Hyman, it's interesting, he said he started this Broken Brain series. This is his second webinar that he's doing. He said he started because he was poisoned by black mold. He found he had mold in his house and didn't realize it, and was, he says, he was bedridden, and now he's going on record of, what to do to treat it. Now, the thing about mold, if there's any inkling of it, get an ozone machine and put it in the room or put it in the whole house, leave the house, leave it on for whatever time I say in my blog. Just look up black mold, Dr. Carolyn Dean, and ozone, and you'll find it. So ozone is the treatment, but what is interesting, Bob won't like me telling you this, but we had a mold problem probably the same time as Mark did, and it didn't bother us. It seriously did not bother us. When it was found, when we finally had a little bit of a leak showing, and when the workmen found it, they were kind of surprised that we hadn't gotten sick from it. So really, it's another way that we've proven to ourselves how important it is to support your body with the right building blocks, and it will take care of you. I used to say that I try not to fall too much anymore, but I used to fall all over the place, and every time I'd get up and take my arnica or whatever, I'd say, see, no broken bones. But I don't want to keep doing that. But just to reinforce that the body will take care of you if you give it the right building blocks, and there's something, too, about the priorities in the body. I was going to bring this up next week after a blog comes out about it, but the body has priorities, and it may be dealing with your black mold or doing all kinds of other layers of protecting your body, and you just want it to get rid of your heart palpitations. What we heard back from someone when we sent her this FAQ we wrote about body priorities, Melody Rose spearheaded it, and she wrote back and says, it makes sense that our attempts to micromanage our body become futile because our body is a genius. And what we're doing with the completement formulas is giving you what the body wants at a cellular level, the building blocks, so that it can do its own managing of our body instead of the incredible micromanaging that doctors are doing, trying to organize you on a half dozen or a dozen drugs, or that alternative medicine doctors are doing, having you take dozens and dozens of supplements because they sound good. That is severe micromanaging in a body system that only is asking for the building blocks. Can I get an amen, Ginny?
Yes, you can.
I know. It is quite incredible. I mean, when we're talking about the aging population, of course, we don't believe in aging, but some people do. But when they start on our formulas, they realize they're getting younger and younger every day. It is quite amazing.
Absolutely, and who's ever even heard of such a thing? I mean, people don't expect to become regressively younger, but that's what happened. I had a customer who's in her 80s tell me a couple of months ago, she's like, dang, now I'm going to have to start living again. I feel like I'm, 15, 20 years younger. She's like, we've gotten testimonials. My husband was buying a burial plot for me. I mean, goodness gracious, So it really is very gratifying, but it's also very true. It does happen. And if it hasn't happened for you yet, it will. And you've just got to be consistent with it. And that's we've got tons of webinars. We have a great webinar on the labyrinth of the mind, which kind of talks about how also to use that body-mind connection and kind of overcome some of your limiting beliefs and start to focus your attention on getting better and even noticing subtle improvements. Because when you first start on the products, especially if you've been chronically, sick for a while or, have magnesium deficiency is something you acquire over a period of years, then you're more used to paying attention to what's wrong than what's working. And when you start to use our products, you'll notice things starting to work again properly. And even the subtle and modest improvements are a sign that your body's responding and that you've got an opportunity to really move forward and advance your health. So it will work, absolutely.
Very good, very good. Now, I do have about 7 or 8 mailbag questions from today's blog, but as long as you know that, I have to get through the mailbag. Did you want to go to chat and phone calls now?
Yeah, we have a couple of chat questions, and we definitely have some phone callers. And let me just remind everybody that 602-666-6027 is the number to call if you have a question for Dr. Dean. And you hit *5 on the keypad. *5 raises your hand and lets us know you have a question or comment, and then we will put you on the phone with Dr. Dean. So we're going to get to our phone callers after I just ask a couple of these questions. Oh, actually, I guess it's only one. Carol typed in, how would you suggest a male, 78 years old, with congestive heart failure for 5 years start on the product? Can you even have congestive heart failure for 5 years?
Well, see, they're diagnosing it earlier and earlier. They like to label someone as soon as the ejection fraction is a certain number. They say, oh, your heart's failing. I've got a blog about heart failure. It's really doctors failing their patients because they're not telling them to take Remag. But it's very, very basically simple, Carol. You just start on a 1/4 teaspoon of Remag. You can take it with all the medications. There's no need to stop anything. You just do the 1/4 teaspoon of Remag and the liter of water. If you can start with a pinch of sea salt in the liter of water to slowly build up all those 72 minerals. I know people are so afraid of salt that they're losing their minerals because they aren't using sea salt. I don't agree with table salt myself, but it's the sea salt. So it's just get this gentleman to phone up support or just order a Remag bottle, and the guidelines will be in the packaging. And when they see all that information, he could call in and ask questions. It's very, very simple. Right, Ginny? Ginny's off in another world.
Oh, I was talking away and I didn't realize I had gone back on mute. Yes, it is very, very simple. Low and slow is the beginning place. Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Right.
Okay, let's take some phone calls. Let's go to area code and the great state of North Carolina. We're going to go to area code 828-277. Hello?
Hello.
Hello. Do you have your are you on a speakerphone, or we have terrible feedback?
Hello?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, good. Sorry about that. Oh, this is Jackie. I'm from Asheville, North Carolina. This is a great show. I've been wanting to email you and tell you a bunch of things, but my mother has been, well, we've all been taking it, but my mom's been taking, Remag, Remite, everything, and she's 94, and gosh, she was on 2 prescriptions when she came down here, and she's not on any. One was for arrhythmia, and I mean, she's taken, I muscle test her to see what she needs, but she's taken, I think, 4 teaspoons of Remag. I was going to ask you about that. Do 94-year-olds ever build up to their level, a maintenance level, or is it just hard being 94 and kind of stay around that level?
It's hard to say. That's a good question. You'll be the one to tell us if at a certain point starts getting a bit of the laxative effect, then you know just to pull back. But
well,
I'm sure she would. Yeah.
Arrhythmia's gone. She was on a beta blocker for high blood pressure. That's gone. I mean, the nurse checks her once a week and is amazed at what great blood pressure she has, and her heartbeat sounds great. So,
look, Jackie, let me ask you this. You say a nurse checks her. Is she in a retirement home?
No. She's here with me. So,
Good.
Yeah, that's
okay.
We tried the other, and that was.
Yeah, that's the only way you can get the minerals into her, because it's horrible that the nursing homes, etc., won't allow this sort of thing. Okay.
She was in one in New Jersey who wanted a prescription for arnica, so if that tells you anything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, this is much easier. But the other thing I wanted to tell you, too, is, I have a dog that I've only had for about 3 years, and I've switched him from really junky food to and steroids and a lot of antibiotics to raw food, and he has a leaky mitral valve, and I tested him on magnesium, and he was really strong on it, and he barely coughs, and that was a good 2 years ago. Vet sounded like he was, we wouldn't have him much longer and he would just die. I don't know if there's anything else that goes with that for leaky mitral valve, but it sure has made a huge difference in his life.
Yeah, well, the mitral valve, people with mitral valve do have magnesium deficiency, it turns out, because what happens is that valve just kind of flops closed, so it's only half closed, and so it leaks. But if you have enough magnesium and balance with the calcium, it closes properly. The muscles are not the valve, the actual valve, are not floppy. I mean, this is what Mick Jagger should be taking, for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
He had to stop his tour to have a valve replacement. But anyway, he needs a little more than Remag, I'm sure.
So do you know of any, I know you're probably not allowed to say, but are you aware of any dogs that are taking the calcium that you make, the Recal?
I don't know about calcium. We are working on a dog, not a dog, but animal product. We have to work out dosages. Yeah, so.
Wow.
Yeah. Even with animals, you do have to be careful of calcium, because they do tend to get too much in their diet. But Ginny would know. Ginny's, I go and visit her so I can play with her dogs. But Ginny, are any of our little animal friends using Recalcia?
I don't know about the Recalcia, but what came up for me was the Realign with the taurine in it. That's really beneficial for the dogs. And also methionine is really good to naturally adjust their pH, and that's what they give to dogs to keep them from burning like urination trails into grass, if they have a high acidity. So methionine, and B vitamins. I would definitely give my dog Realign if I thought they had any kind of a heart condition.
Oh, great to know. Thank you. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention that you already mentioned, Dr. Dean, was hair color. My mother was in the bathtub the other night, and her hair was wet, so it really popped out that the front of her hair is coming in brown. At 94, I just thought that was bizarre. She's been predominantly white since she was about 35.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very good.
Yeah.
Well, Jackie, you're going to number one, Jackie. 94 is our new record, Ginny. Note that. 94. Anybody get a 95-year-old, 96-year-old?
Well, she's 94 and a half, and she's not letting me forget that, so...
Yeah, she's in her 95th year. We got to say that, Carol. A person in their 95th year.
Wow.
Well, my mother was always into a lot of good quality things way back back during the Adele Davis days in the early 60s, late 50s. So we kind of started there and grew from there. And, and then my mom had a very mild stroke about 4 years ago, and the idea of getting her on prescriptions was, I just grew up, you just didn't do prescriptions. That's how I was raised. We were raised with a doctor that was into a lot of raw foods and colonic fasting, that kind of thing. So one thing led to another, and here we are, and this is great, absolutely wonderful. Is this a combination of your minerals you also feel will help with arthritis, I'm guessing, right?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, a lot of the arthritis, well, what is that? Inflammation, of the joints. And Remag is a great anti-inflammatory, and if there's any calcification in the joints, then the Remag will help dissolve that calcification. So much of aging is just calcium in the wrong place at the wrong time. Isn't that bizarre, though? And I sort of focused on that in one of the testimonials in the Magnesium Miracle book, where this woman had osteoporosis and arthritis, so she was losing her bone density, and the calcium from the bones was ending up in her joints. And the treatment for both is to have enough magnesium on board, and for us that means Remag. Yes.
Wow. Well, you've got some great products, that's for sure. My mother's she walks with a walker, but she's still walking up and down 9 steps every day. So,
well, give her a hug for us, okay?
I will do it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for calling in, Jackie. Good night.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Oh, what a lovely call. That was just very precious, very precious. What a beautiful woman. 602-666-6027 is the number to call here on achieveradio.com. Talk to Dr. Carolyn Dean this evening. And, again, if you're on the line and would like to talk to Carolyn, star 5 on your keypad is the number to call. Also, Carolyn, I wanted to let our callers know that the word went out this evening that Realign is back in stock. It's not an April Fool's joke. Realign is back in stock, everybody. So run to your shopping cart and get a bottle or 2. Better get 2. Matt's typing in Carolyn and also saying, is Renew just for skin issues, or could it possibly help with joint pain and even possibly helping to heal a torn meniscus in the knee?
Wow. Well, when we made Renew Serum, it's a 25 times concentrate of RNA reset drop, so it's pretty powerful. And people will use it on everything and anything and come back at us with little queries like yours, Matt, where it can be helping on a lot of levels. So people will just grab it and put it on something, and then we find out, it does this too, because it's alive. It's something that's very living and organic and wonderful.
Excellent. All right, excellent. I think we're caught up. Let's see. Francis is typing, can anyone see this? And the answer is yes, Francis. I can see and hear you. I don't know if you can see or hear us. Definitely refresh your browser and see if that will help you this evening. Okay, Carolyn, why don't you go ahead with some of your mailbag questions?
Okay, great. Hello from Australia. I started taking Remag and Remite about a month ago for heart palpitations and my underactive thyroid and headaches and migraines. I'm up to 3 teaspoons a day of Remag, 1 teaspoon Remite, aiming for 2 teaspoons. I've already seen a difference in my headaches. They're much less frequent, and if I do get one, it resolves in a number of hours as opposed to 4 to 5 days. My heart palpitations are no better and are quite distressing. They occur on and off all day, every day. So here's the priority business. The body checks the minerals, and it's still, this is early days. If it's only been a month, then the first week and a half, the person is building up their intake, and 3 teaspoons is a good level, but it's going to take some time before the stores of magnesium are built up. So this is early days. Be patient. You've been given the message from your migraines that that's improving. So the next priority may be your heart. She does say, though, I've read that in perimenopause, as I am, estrogen levels drop, which causes the heart to overstimulate and then palpitate. I don't know. I have all the triggers for heart palpitations, atrial fibrillation in my book, atrial fibrillation, what is it, reset the mineral connection, something like that, Jenny. Read that book. If estrogen dropping is a trigger, then hopefully I've included it. But I think it's more just that when the hormones are jumping up and down around perimenopause, that they just use up more magnesium. And it's magnesium that the heart absolutely requires. Magnesium in the heart is at the highest level than the rest of the body. I know that didn't sound right. Magnesium is highest in the heart. So if your heart doesn't have enough magnesium, magnesium being a primo electrolyte, then it's going to palpitate. And so she says, my question is, do I need to take a natural hormone treatment to get my hormone levels balanced, or will the Remite balance them? It's quite possible that the Remite will be the balancers, but I'd also say the Realign to get your B vitamins, which are important to support the adrenal glands. And also vitamin C is very important for the adrenal glands. You can take some ascorbic acid, but it's good to have 250 to 500 milligrams of food-based vitamin C. And we are, yes, coming out with that product as soon as we can. It's been taking ages, but eventually we're going to do that. So personally, I would be getting myself saturated with the minerals, taking the Realign, maybe getting the RNA reset drops, and getting my body to produce my hormones before ever going to hormone replacement therapy. And she's saying, is 3 teaspoons a day of Remag enough? It sounds like a good amount. I had to take 4 teaspoons, but you can decide if you want to go up to 4. So there you go, Catherine.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Some questions on the chat line. Here's a good one, Carolyn. This is part of what we forgot to talk about last week. Renee types in, can your products help with retinas in the eyes?
Retinas? How many retinas is Renee talking about?
With the retina of the eye.
Okay. I've blogged about that. Just Google, what would it have been? Macular degeneration. Google my name, macular degeneration, and glaucoma, and see what I say about that. Yes, absolutely. And again, kind of like I was saying to Catherine, it's not just about magnesium. The eyeball itself needs to be hydrated. It needs vitamin C and it also needs the other minerals besides the REMAG. So put it all together.
Yes, and we saw the great presentation, too, at the NIH meeting, Carolyn, about retinas and magnesium, didn't we? Retina.
Uh-oh, I forgot. Uh-oh. I forgot. Oh, my gosh, yes, that's right. Oh, right. Ginny was behind me, and we were emailing, or we weren't texting. We were both on our computers. Maybe you were on your phone. And we were emailing back and forth. Let me look. There were about 60 different presentations and abstracts, and I forgot about the retina. I'm looking right now. Do you remember what it said?
It was about treating cancer of the retina in the eye, and about magnesium's role in preventing cancer in the eyes or in the retina. Yeah, so I was just like, oh, my gosh, this is just incredible. And part of it has to do with RNA, DNA synthesis for sure, and the cellular aspect of it. And I can't remember what all the other components were. But we can look at it, Renee, and email us at support, SUPPORT, at RNAreset.com. And after the show, I'll shoot you a couple words about it if I find that there's any more detail beyond that.
Right.
Yes, that was super cool and groovy.
Yeah, we had a great session last week where Ginny and I went over the different studies, but we left out some. We left out the retina, and we also left out this dentist who was working with magnesium compounds to create a substitute for titanium dental implants. He's created a magnesium implant that will go in and actually grow bone. He had slides. He had CAT scan slides of this bone that was growing, and he's doing animal research right now. But in Korea, I guess South Korea, they're doing human studies already. They've done 150 people using magnesium dental implants, and you can imagine if they can do that with the teeth, they're going to be doing bones and limbs. We are going to be regrowing our limbs, and REMAG is going to be right there in the forefront. So there.
Yeah, very exciting, very exciting. 3 minutes to the top of the hour. A couple of questions still coming in, Carolyn. One of them, Francis, said, I need to know if your products are gluten-free. I have celiac disease.
Yes, they're all gluten-free, except what do we have to say about the RNA reset drops, Ginny?
The drops fluctuate. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. So we say they aren't just to be safe, because we don't include it in our manufacturing spec that they have to be gluten-free. All of our products that contain the RNA drops are gluten-free, because by the time it gets to the powder state, the gluten's out of it. And if you want to use the RNA drops on your skin instead of under your tongue, that's perfectly fine. Same with the Renew. But everything else is 100% gluten-free.
Yeah, very good. And we in the beginning, when I guess we didn't even know about the gluten levels, we've since been doing more and more and more testing. People would say to us that actually with all the products, they have less gluten sensitivity. But we're not going to tell people, oh, you'll get rid of your celiac if you do our products. That's not what we're trying to say. But people seem to be less sensitive as their gut heals. People who've been eating wheat for decades have really irritated their intestines, and they have to heal. And the building blocks that heal are the minerals that get in at the cellular level and create the perfect cells that you want. So, top of the hour, here we are.
Okay, excellent. For some reason, the phone, the sound is cutting out. Bill, can you check on that? We've got random people typing in no sound, can't hear you. Are you on mute? We are live. We're not on mute. The sound is fine, so maybe Bill can check on it. Maybe we blew an amp in a channel or something. I don't know. That's old radio talk. I don't know. Maybe there are no more amps, but we've got a couple comments on the chat line, Bill, if you could check into us for us. All right, and also let's see, 1 more minute to the top of the hour. When is your lotion coming back? I just ran out. Lotion will be back in stock, lotion will be back in stock by April 15th. So another week or so. It's shipping. It's making its way across the country. So it'll be here soon. Do not panic. In the meantime, you can use Remag oral topically. Okay, top of the hour. We're going to be right back with a whole nother hour with Dr. Carolyn Dean. Don't forget to call in questions and comments, and we're going to take this quick break, and we'll be right back.
We'll be back with Hour 2 of Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean, along with host Ginny Gunther, after this brief station break. You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is achieveradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
AchieveRadio.com. Here we go now. Go to the Carolyn. Here we go now. Here we go now. The wellness scene with Dr. D.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. What a super fun, cool, and groovy radio show we have where we just get to talk about being well, getting well, staying well, and having fun. It's just such the joy to do this show Monday evenings with Dr. Dean, and we're back again, as I said, for the next hour. And we've got some questions here on the chat line. We've got some callers on the phone, and we've got all kinds of fun things to say. 602-666-6027 is the number to call. And if you have a question or comment for Dr. Dean, you've got to hit *5 on your keypad, *5. It's going to raise your hand here in the studio and let me know that you have a question or a comment, and then I'll put you on the phone with Dr. Dean. Otherwise, we won't know that you want to chitty-chat with her, and you'll be on mute, and we won't be able to hear you. So be sure to hit that *5, okay? So let's see. Where are we here? Now, So Teresa types in, Carolyn, after you said about the dentist, who, by the way, was just such a super cool and great guy. She said, dental bone to grow from magnesium implants. What? That's so cool. Who's the dentist doing the magnesium implants? Do they need volunteers?
I know. He was a sweetheart, too. Yeah.
Oh, such a sweetheart. And he wasn't intentional about his discovery. Well, I mean, based on results, he was very intentional because he's got it in his hand. But he's just a sincere, wide-open guy, and he found out what was going on. And it was real funny, too, because he got kind of messed up with his scheduling, and they kind of tried to short-shift his presentation. And he's like, no. And he came back the next day, and it was fantastic. But, yeah, very nice man. And but it is very promising, and it wasn't just
but it'll be years. We should say that. It will be several years before we see the evidence of it. So we'll let you know as soon as we know.
Yes. And it's not just the teeth. They are doing jaw, and they're also doing plates in bone, big femur bones in the legs. So it's pretty impressive. Yeah, pretty impressive. But yes, of course, it will be years. But they're making headway. Yep. Marissa types in, hello from DeWitt, Michigan. Well, welcome, all of our fellow Michiganders. We're so happy you're here. Our radio producer, Bill, too, is sending me a little note on our studio chat, and he's saying there are a lot of reports of Internet issues around the country, and based on comments by Doug and Tamara, he thinks it's systematic Internet issues today because we don't have any inbound or outbound issues on our server. So it's just the vibe on the planet right now. But don't worry.
Well, April 1st. Yeah, April Fool's Day. So some hackers are probably hacking around just for fun. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Carolyn, so Bill's typing in, and he says, why is it so important for REMAG to work at the cellular level? Don't other magnesium supplements work at the cellular level? Do they just get passed through your system without being absorbed?
Yeah, that's right, Bill. The absorption studies are so archaic. We don't even know what is getting into a cell unless we do an ionized magnesium test. And the study we keep talking about, the magnesium oxide is only 4% absorbed. That's only into the bloodstream. We don't even know how much that is getting into the cells. So it is all about the ionized magnesium testing being promoted so that we can know what we're getting, and the cellular level is where magnesium, where everything works actually at the cellular level. And we talk about the Krebs cycle making energy, our basic ATP energy. The Krebs cycle occurs in the mitochondria. In the mitochondria, there are 1,000 to 2,000 mitochondria in every cell except red blood cells. So because the serum magnesium is such a terrible test, I've been talking about the next best or the least worst is red blood cell magnesium, but without mitochondria, it's not really going to hold a lot of magnesium. So it's a mess. It's a complete mess until our studies start coming out. Right, Ginny?
Yes, that's exactly right. And I think that when you look at the function of magnesium and you see it in the RNA, the DNA, the Krebs cycle, as you said, Carolyn, that absorption and especially mitochondria, it's just so important. So it is going to be proven to be so powerful, and that's where it's going to show up as a true alleviation of very difficult to get to symptoms. And like, for example, your heart palpitation symptoms or your diabetes system where the interaction between insulin and magnesium is so apparent, your osteoporosis where you're looking at the interaction between calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D, and how these, and that's, calcium not absorbed, vitamin D require magnesium, blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, it's just all banging around in there. Everybody's at the bar and nobody's able to get up and dance type of a thing. So with magnesium, our magnesium at the pico level being absorbed into the body the way that it is, it's activating all these functions and the enzyme functions. Right, Carolyn?
Right. At the conference, we learned that magnesium is necessary in 1,000 enzymes now, not 300, not even my 600, 700, or 800, 1,000. And Andrea Rosanoff, PhD, magnesium researcher, she and Mildred Zielig wrote The Magnesium Factor. They wrote their book while I was writing mine, and Andrea sent me a study that I don't know what the working model was, but they ended up concluding that magnesium is necessary in 80% of the body's metabolic functions. 80%. So if you don't have magnesium, 80% of your body is just, dragging along behind you. It's crazy. Here's the bone rebuilding article abstract. It's abstract oral communication. Jenny, you'll find it. It's OC 14, page 69 of our booklet. Osteogenic signaling pathways stimulated by magnesium. So the dentist name is Charles Seffier, S-F-E-I-R. He and his team are in Pittsburgh, and the purpose of their study is to work with resorbable magnesium-based alloys that are biocompatible, and they were shown in vivo and in vitro, so that means in living tissue and in the test tube by our group to enhance bone regeneration. Successful examples of bone regeneration using magnesium alloys in both animal models and clinical studies have been reported. However, the biological mechanisms have not been investigated in depth. To elucidate the osteogenic effects of magnesium, we stimulated human bone marrow stromal cells with culture medium containing adjusted concentrations of magnesium ion and analyzed expression of genes and proteins related to osteogenesis. So, yeah, Jenny, we'll have to send Charles some Remag. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
They want magnesium ion, so our stabilized magnesium ion is going to be very helpful in their research. And we can remind him that we nabbed him at the so-called cocktail party, and we're very effusive about how wonderful his work is.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, they, when it comes to absorption, it's funny because, you'll read a lot of articles about magnesium absorption, and the one thing they say is the best place to get magnesium is from your food. But actually at the conference we learned that even the magnesium that you get from your food is only 50% absorbed. Well, why would that be? Well, because it's plant, dirt, rock minerals. It's not a product that's been changed like our product has been changed to get to that stabilized magnesium ion. So it's funny, even if you get a good amount of magnesium in your diet, you're not absorbing all of it. And so that makes our product even more important. And as our studies continue to come, as they come out and different things like that, we will, believe me, once we can say the words we need to say, everybody will know. Carolyn will probably have a tattoo. It'll probably be like a big magnesium tattoo right in the middle of her forehead. What's that? She'll say. Oh, no, but seriously, I mean, it's going to be fun to share the news with everybody because it is so important. It is so important. Okay, 602-666-6027 is the number to call. And if you're on the line tonight, you've got to hit *5 on your keypad to let us know you have a question or comment. We'll put you on the phone with Dr. Dean. So far, nobody's raising their hands this second hour, although we've got a lot of people on here, but maybe they're just, sometimes people get into Dr. Dean therapy and they just love listening to that sing-song voice of hers, and then they just want to kind of, da-da-da, da-da-da, be happy as for talk.
They're waiting for me to yell at Bob. And Bob's over here. What are you doing? He's sitting there pretending he's driving a car with a... There's a new backrest I got. He's got his hoodie on, and he's pretending to ride in a car. It's so silly. Listening to me on the car radio. Okay, Bob. So let me tell you some more mailbags here. Hello.
Okay.
I would ask...
Go ahead, Carolyn. Sorry.
I would ask Dr. Dean if there's a correlation between periodontal disease, atherosclerosis with PVCs and carotid artery blockage, and fibromyalgia and magnesium deficiency. So, I think we can put that together. I have all of this. Can they be cured with complement formulas? I've been using them for 3 months now, getting better sleep, less constipation, hemorrhoids settled down, less anxiety. My first visit to the hygienist for deep cleaning of tartar healed up quickly without soreness. Thank you for hope. Well, it sounds like you're beyond hope. You're right into the miracle, Kathy. So congratulations. What I would be adding with the periodontal disease, of course you have to be flossing. I'd be swishing my mouth with a Pico Silver. That's for sure. Yeah. And that atherosclerosis, that's calcification. Fibromyalgia, that's magnesium deficiency and yeast overgrowth. So on top of taking all the products, go to our website, drcarolyndeanlive.com, and download the free book, Reset the Yeast Connection, because that's where you go when you have like bleeding gums. They're related to infections, like when a dentist puts scrapings from around your gums under a microscope, they very often will find fungus, and they don't have a clue what that means. And what it means is yeast overgrowth, and yeast is a fungus. So, yes, add the Pico Silver and do yeast detox. Next question. If a person already needs a kidney and is doing dialysis every 3 days, is it too late for the magnesium? Well, no, not at all. If you don't have my Magnesium Miracle book, where I have a whole section on the kidney and an insert by a customer of ours she's a health practitioner herself. She's on dialysis, and she did her own personal studies where she had her blood tested before and after dialysis and found that her magnesium levels dropped after a dialysis treatment. Dialysis depletes magnesium. And then you're told that you don't take magnesium if you have kidney disease because you won't clear the magnesium that's dumping out of your system because it's not going into your cells. So if you take Remag and your magnesium goes into your cells and it's utilized in your cells to give you energy, keep away your heart palpitations and everything, you have a whole different view of magnesium in the kidneys. So kidneys, magnesium. A lot of kidney disease is calcification of the renal arteries, and you need enough magnesium to dissolve that calcium. Also, when we spoke with Jason Fung, he's a nephrologist up in Toronto, and Dr. Fung said that he has to give his dialysis patients intravenous magnesium to deal with all the heart palpitations and side effects of dialysis. So either get the Magnesium Miracle book or email support@rnareset.com and ask them for the kidney excerpt so you can understand intellectually what's going on. Continued, Patrice asks, can you talk about ADHD? My 2 children are on, I think she's saying Ritalin. Can I use the magnesium for them? They're 13 and 16. Well, yeah, magnesium is very important for children. Again, the Magnesium Miracle book, I talk about children need magnesium just as much as adults do. 13, 16, yes, you can dilute the Remag in water and get them to drink it. You can, actually, we have an FAQ. You can email customer support for our FAQ on how to dress up your magnesium liquid so it tastes better. We're not trying to give you candy here. We're giving you magnesium that's very concentrated, so it's going to be strong. So get used to that, but there are ways that you can make it taste better. Questions from someone who's a health practitioner. How do you suggest magnesium be used, if at all, to aid in improving constipation and bowel movements? Well, yes, of course. Magnesium is very important for any muscle or any nerve. Some aspects of constipation are spasming, tightening of the muscles. Just as you would get a leg cramp, you can get kind of a cramp in your intestinal muscles that slows down your transit time and gives you constipation. IBS symptoms can be alleviated with Remag because it relaxes the tension of the muscles that can create spasming pain. The buildup of gas in the intestines, if you've got a spasm in the muscle along the intestines and a buildup of gas beyond or above the muscle spasm, that gas can expand and cause severe stretching pain. And that's a magnesium deficiency symptom. That's what I used to get. Horrible, horrible, horrible pain. How does one know at any point in time if they are taking adequate magnesium in whatever forms? Yeah, we want the ionized magnesium test to test if the cells are getting adequate magnesium, but it's clinical. You look at your symptoms. You can go to my blog called Gauging Magnesium Deficiency, and there are 100 factors there that can show a person whether or not they're magnesium deficient. You can also look at your symptoms. I say that mine were easy to define because I had heart palpitations, so if I needed more magnesium, I would start getting a little bit of jumping in my heart. Other people, it would be their migraine. It could be esophageal spasms, leg cramps, insomnia. Look at your symptoms. And also, in terms of adequacy, it did take me 1.5 years to get fully saturated, so that when I, by that time, was taking 3 teaspoons, I started getting the laxative effect, and my symptoms were gone. So laxative effect after 1 year or more, symptoms gone, cut back on your magnesium. But if you cut back too much and your symptoms come back, you know that you have to increase again. It really is something that you have to judge and be responsible for checking out yourself. What's the ideal range for RBC test results? It's difficult to say that the RBC magnesium test is going to be adequate for finding out whether or not you have enough magnesium. As I said earlier, the red blood cells do not have mitochondria, so they don't have loads of magnesium. So the test is really not that perfect. But what I say to people is, a few years ago, the range of magnesium RBC used to be 4.2 to 6.8, and since 80% of the population is deficient in magnesium, also we can say since the metabolic functions of the body, 80% of them require magnesium. Let's go for taking magnesium up to the 80th percentile in the magnesium RBC test. So we want a magnesium RBC of 6 to 6.5, I say. After a few years of looking at that range, 4.2 to 6.8, they dropped the range to 3.8. Now, what does that tell you? It tells you that the average person in the population is even lower in their magnesium. The range of lab tests is created by averaging the people that come into a lab, and just on a bell curve, you want to be right dead center average. Not with the magnesium. You want to be at the top of the range. So the range dropping like that is a total indication that we are getting more and more and more and more magnesium deficient. So RBC, we want it to be up above 6, but just know that the level is not as important as your clinical symptoms. Also, we know that after 3-4 months of taking REMAG, your magnesium RBC test results can actually go down because the body has revved up its 1,000 different enzymes, and it's grabbing all the magnesium it can into the cells and to do its work. So it's not going to be in the serum, it's not going to be in the red blood cells, it's going to be in the mitochondria doing its work. We tried to explain this to a well-known doctor, and he didn't get it. It was very embarrassing for him, I'm sure. What is your ideal protocol for recommending magnesium for migraineurs? It's the same as every other condition. The condition is not the disease. We're not talking about treating anything. We can't. We are talking about replacing the magnesium that you've lost in your stores for a dozen different reasons. So we're talking about slowly replacing your magnesium and then just watching these magnesium deficiency symptoms disappear. We start with a 1/4 teaspoon in a liter of sea salted water, and we work up to 3 to 4 teaspoons of REMAG. We add the Remite as well. We add the Realign for the bees and for the gentle detoxification. So that was a fun bunch of questions. I'm going to stop and see if Ginny has any chats or phone calls.
Yes, phone calls do abound, so let's take a couple calls. Let's go out to area code 206, the great state of Washington. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and state your question or comment.
Hi, is this me, 206?
Yes, go ahead.
That's you.
All right. Hey, this is really cool. This is the first time I've checked into Achieve Radio, and I want to say I have, I'm taking the REMAG, 2 teaspoons a day right now, and Remite I added just a little while ago, and I take, I think, about a teaspoon of that. And I've done the I've done the water. I buy spring water, and I drink a gallon of it a day. So I mix them in that, and I'm drinking that. There's a lot of liquid for me to drink, but I'm getting more used to it. So the reason I'm taking this is because I have AFib. Mm-hmm. And it's been getting worse these last few years. I have, irregular heart rate, and I'm on 4 drugs, and I hate taking drugs. I've only started taking them these last few years, but so I'm on 2 for high blood pressure, and I'm on 2 to slow my heart. I would like to go off of all of them eventually. So is there any other product I can take besides these two that might help?
Okay.
I am a little gluten intolerant.
Right. What's your first name?
My first name is Moira, Moira.
And how long have you been taking the minerals, Moira?
I started taking Remag, I think, about 2 months now.
Okay.
So not very long. And Remite I ordered a little while ago, so just maybe a few weeks.
And do you mind me asking how old you are?
74.
Oh, good for you. Okay.
Hey.
Have you read my atrial fibrillation booklet?
No, I haven't read it. My husband went online and we wanted to get your book, the Magnesium Miracle book, but we couldn't find it anywhere, and so I have not.
Right.
I know you have to do it online, but I haven't read it.
Right. The Magnesium Miracle book, it's on Amazon, but what you can do, Moira, is just go to our free website, drcarolyndeanlive.com, and under the books, I have 11 free ebooks. And you just read it online or download it and print it up. So that's got all the information about AFib and magnesium deficiency. And you're in the early stages, as you probably heard throughout the show, early stages of replacing magnesium in the body, if indeed it's what's causing the AFib. And it's like there's an epidemic of AFib. There's an epidemic of magnesium deficiency. When our customers take the Remag, their AFib for the most part, seems to be under control. We don't tell people to stop their drugs. You just keep taking your drugs, and as the AFib clears, then your doctor's going to help you wean off the drugs. We do not tell people not to get ablation, because sometimes that can be helpful, but we know along with the Remag it can really help people recover. So there's all kinds of things you'll learn in the AFib book, and to give you some like intellectual backup about what you're doing and to help support your decision to take the minerals. You may have to go up to 3.5, 4 teaspoons, depending on what you perceive to have been your triggers. People on medications will be losing magnesium just from the side effects of the medications themselves. So you have to judge these things. And what have you experienced so far taking the 2 teaspoons of Remag the past 2 months?
Well, it's hard for me to tell because the medication that I'm on, it's diltiazem and metoprolol to slow my heart rate, because I ended up in the hospital because it was up over 200. And then my blood pressure, I'm on 2 medications for blood pressure, the lisinopril and a diuretic. So it's and I think the diltiazem, and I'm not absolutely positive, but I think that it's giving me, I get kind of dizzy, my head feels kind of funny. I think it's bothering me, but I take 360 a day. So we spread it out now instead of taking it all at once. But I just think that these drugs are doing stuff to my system that's not helping me to get better, and I don't really know why I have AFib. I am going to the doctor, and I've been to see a doctor that does ablation, and I was considering doing it, but I don't want to do it unless I absolutely have to. So I'm really hoping that taking the Remag and Remite, and if there's another thing I can add to that might help, I would do that.
Yeah. The book will go into those things, but I don't know if you heard Ginny say earlier, our Realign is very important because it has taurine in it, which is very good for the heart, and also the B vitamins that are important for the nervous system and the adrenal glands. So I think, Moira, the best thing is for you to to download the booklet and read through it and see if you get a few aha moments. It's like, oh, maybe that's what depleted me. Because sometimes, not knowing why you've got a condition, it keeps you focused on the condition. Once you know why and you say, oh, that's why, and okay, well, I'm taking my minerals now, I have a good chance of getting better. You know what I'm saying? It's like getting you out of the concerned about, well, where's this from and can I ever get rid of it? I want you to read the book, and then you can come back to our show in the near future and let us know if you have other questions, or you can email support@rnareset.com anytime and ask questions. Okay?
Okay. So the book to read then is the Magnesium Miracle. That is the book, right? Or I should be reading another one.
That's the book that's on sale at Amazon. What I'm saying is you can go to Dr. Carolyn Dean Live and download a free book, and it's called Atrial Fibrillation, Remineralize Your Heart. Now, you don't have to remember all those words. If you remember drcarolyndeanlive.com, you go there, just click on books, and you'll come to the AFib book. Okay, great. And I'm going to, now that I know how to do this, and I'm on my computer, and I'm listening to the radio, I'm going to check in every Monday, and I can see the talks where you talk to other people and they've interviewed you. So I'm just trying to read as much as I can, and I really feel I can get well if I can fix what's missing, my body, just to give it what it needs so it can work. I really think you can live to be 120 or more if you take care of yourself. But Absolutely.
And I eat well. I don't drink alcohol because, and I get this thing all the time. I get this after meals. Sometimes my right ear turns red. I don't know why, and sometimes part of my face turns red, and I think I must be allergic to something. I cannot figure out what it is, and I've had all kinds of tests done years ago and stuff, and I was allergic to a lot of stuff, but it's still really hard, and I think maybe it's the drugs I'm taking that's making my ear, or maybe it's the food that's doing it. Maybe it's just tired and that's what's
I know, and
I
so
don't
you've
know.
got and then the not knowing can be, a lot frustrating. It could be the vagus nerve that is affecting the ear. You'll read about that in my
I remember reading
book.
a little bit about. Yeah, I remember reading about the vagus nerve. It's connected from the brain to the gut, right?
Right. And what you will find as well, if you're on our formulas, the minerals and the Realign, we also have a protein powder, and we have the RNA reset drops. If there's an indication that you have yeast overgrowth, then I have a booklet about that. So you'll learn, as you say, you want to study more of what I'm talking about, you'll get a good intellectual grasp of what's going on and realize that, in our society we have not allowed ourselves to focus on good health, and that's what I do. That's what all I'm interested in, is getting people on the right building blocks so that they can stay healthy and live to at least 120, because that's what it says in the Bible, right?
Mhm. Yeah, and I've read Dr. Norman Walker's book years ago about juicing. He was the guy that started this everybody juicing, and we've juiced for a lot, and every day since the last month now we juice at lunch all the time, and it's carrot, celery, apple, beet, and garlic and ginger. And so I'm really trying really hard.
Right. Well, the thing of it is, and I appreciate what you're saying about juicing, but when you read, there's a Remag book you can also download. Well, when you read about the soil being so depleted of magnesium, and realize that you could eat, as people do, you could be taking 40 ounces of green smoothie drink a day and still have magnesium deficiency because there's no magnesium left in the soil.
But I buy organic. I buy organic.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't have it either. Yeah.
No. If your farmer is not putting magnesium and on the other minerals in the soil, they're not going to be in the plants. We have so many young people who've been on raw and vegan and green smoothies with heart palpitations and leg cramps. And
I get leg cramps too. Yeah.
Right. Now, are those diminishing a bit? Are those going down?
They are.
Okay.
They are. My leg cramps
So you're on your way.
And I'm walking more often now.
Good. So things are improving. So you have to look at that aspect of, maybe I'm getting better. Okay, then my heart's going to, maybe that's not the priority right now. Maybe my body's working on these other things. But the thing of it is, with only 2 teaspoons of Remag, which is 600 milligrams, which I think is like the RDA, it's the bare minimum, you're also on the 4 drugs that are going to be using up maybe a teaspoon and a half every day.
Oh, okay. But
I will never tell you to stop taking those drugs because I'm not your doctor, and your body's in some sort of balance with those drugs. So you'll take them until your symptoms are gone, because when your blood pressure starts going a little lower, and if it goes a little too low, you don't want to be on blood pressure drugs, and you're going to tell your doctor, wean me off these. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. I'm thinking I want to probably go off the diuretics first, and then I don't know. And I would love to get off the deltiazem and the metoprolol, and the lisinopril. But it's like, where do you start first, and what it's just overwhelming.
Well, you'll get there. I mean, just let your doctor know that you're on a protocol now and you're already improving, and try not to, antagonize the doctor. But
right.
Okay, Okay, are we good for now then, Moira? You'll keep in touch?
We are, and I will, and I thank you very much for your products and for your being available and telling us so much about the magnesium. And I have always felt for years that magnesium, we always need much more magnesium than we do calcium. I mean, I know it's been out there saying it's supposed to take twice as much magnesium. I'm thinking, no, that's not true. I would tell all my friends, no, I've read, but that's not true. You need to be taking more magnesium. And then I'm like, this is happening to me, and I think, I need more.
Yeah, good point. Right. You'll be fine. The worst is over. Okay? The worst is over.
All right. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
You're welcome, Moira. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, excellent. A couple of questions came in on the chat line, and one, Carolyn, if you could just give a few words to our good listener, Nancy, up in Portland, who always tunes in. She missed the early part of our show because she had an eye appointment, and she may have to have a cataract procedure this week, and she's feeling a little bit intimidated. I know we talked about, Remag in the eyes, and she's a long-standing customer. But, Carolyn, you've always been very positive about the cataract procedures and really how beneficial they are. Can you say any words about that?
Right. They have perfected the surgery, the operation. I think it's a outpatient. You just go and they're able to pop out the cataract and replace the lens of the eye. So, I mean, my mom had it done. I know people who've had it done without any side effects. And what will happen? It's like our dear friend Margaret up in British Columbia with her hip surgery. The doctors are just amazed at how people on the Completement formula sail through surgery. Actually, Susanna and her 91-year-old mother had a huge story about 2 cataract surgeries that she'd had, one a couple years ago before she was on any of the formulas, and one recently. And the one more recently, she sailed through it. The doctors were amazed at how well she responded to the surgery. So on the formulas, you just have to say to yourself, I'm taking care of myself. Everything's going to be fine. Right, Nancy?
Yeah, very good. Excellent. Yeah, and she will recover quickly because she is in great shape. Okay, let's go up to area code 248. 248, you're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Carolyn. And I just want one question. With the protein powder, do you take that as a supplement?
It is. We do call it as a supplement because
a meal replacement. I'm sorry.
It is a meal replacement, but it does have supplemental factors in it. It's got extra lysine. It has the RNA reset powder. So it ends up being much more than just a protein powder meal replacement. And the meal replacement aspect, I don't think we're allowed to call it that, but it does have fat, protein, and a bit of carbohydrates. So we say it even can work in the ketogenic diet. And to make it even more keto, you can put in coconut milk or heavy whipping cream. I spin up macadamia nuts in our restructure smoothies.
Okay. All right. That's all I needed to know because I've already got my order ready just to send to Amazon, and I just wanted to make sure I saw that on there, and I just wanted to see, was that just in place of a breakfast, lunch, or a dinner?
Absolutely. I just feel I want to give you a big hug. Why is that? Why do I want to give you a hug?
Well, I don't know. I'm just ready to start.
Is that possible? A hug across the Pacific, actually, because I'm in Maui. But thank you so much for calling in and asking your question. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Jenny.
Excellent. Area code 804. 804, no. You're on the line.
No. I have to finish. I have to finish up the mailbag.
Okay, hold on.
Am I on the line?
Okay.
Yeah, we can take. Yes.
Oh, hi. Hi, this is
What's your first name? And
Ivana in Virginia, and I'll be quick.
Okay.
I wasn't going to ask my question because I didn't want to bother you tonight. But I decided to ask it anyway in case it mattered. Today was the first day I was on the RNA reset drops, and I was really into reading about it and making sure I was going to do the right amount. And so I filled my dropper, and instead of doing just the one drop like I was supposed to, I did the whole dropper full. I couldn't believe it. So
that's funny.
Would that hurt me? And if it doesn't, can I do more than just start with one drop a day?
It won't hurt you. Some people will say that, I don't know. We have had reports from people who take a lot at first that it kind of stirs them up. I mean, you're pretty. It sounds like it didn't stir you up or anything, but Yvonne, I'd go back to the one drop a day and do it as we recommend. But it's not a harmful thing. I mean, you can imagine we're dealing with thousands and thousands of people with all kinds of different aspects to their health, and we're just being real cautious when we recommend our products, just to go low and slow, and we'll always say that. Okay?
Right. Okay, well, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yes,
bye-bye. Wonderful.
Let me do these last two. Someone says she talked with us about her sister in the hospital battling AFib. Now, my husband, she says, has developed sudden onset AFib. They plan to cardiovert him if it doesn't resolve. He's been taking 300 milligrams of magnesium blend in capsule form, but since the AFib 3 weeks ago, he added a capful each of Remag and Remite in water with the quarter teaspoon Himalayan salt, plus he's using the magnesium lotion. That's about 900 to 1,000 milligrams of magnesium. But we can't say that. All he's really doing in terms of getting ionic magnesium is the capful of Remag at 300 milligrams. The other forms of magnesium, they may be 4 to 20% absorbed. So the magnesium lotion, that will be absorbed as well if it's the Remag lotion. So he may be getting 400 or 500 milligrams. He tries to eat foods with calcium. Best guess he's getting 500 to 600. What could be causing the AFib to continue unaffected by the magnesium, calcium, and other minerals he's getting? Well, it's only 3 weeks ago that he added the Remag. So we cannot keep looking at magnesium as being a drug that suppresses a symptom. What the magnesium is trying to do, what Remag is trying to do, is get into the cells and supply the body with the magnesium it needs for 1,000 enzyme processes. So the magnesium is very busy. It's really required for so much more than just the heart fibrillation. Priority of the body may not be to treat the AFib. So it is a matter of, it'll take more time, it will take more Remag, 3 and 4 teaspoons of the magnesium that's going to get into the cells rather than magnesium that will eventually cause a laxative effect. This person, Karen, asks another question. Does adding organic tart cherry concentrate or organic pomegranate juice to the Remag water reduce its effectiveness? Not at all. They're foods. Magnesium is like a food, so that's perfectly fine. And that's what we do recommend to help the taste. And the last question is, I take natural thyroid, 30 milligrams early morning. I begin to take my Remag Remite about an hour later. I've been told that magnesium can block the absorption of thyroid and it should be started later in the afternoon. Is this correct? I prefer to begin drinking my Remag water earlier in the day. Well, I don't know where this came from, that magnesium can block the absorption of thyroid. I used to think it was because doctors just thought magnesium was a laxative, that they didn't want people taking magnesium that would flush out the medication, or doctors who think that magnesium is like an antacid and it'll block the absorption of thyroid. I really don't believe it's true, especially with Remag, because Remag is just going to go into your cells. It's not going to play around with natural thyroid replacement. And what's going to happen with the Remite, taking a teaspoon and a half a day, it will be supporting the natural production of thyroid hormone. You've all probably heard my story that 6-8 weeks after starting my Remite, I no longer required my 60 milligrams of Armour Thyroid. I warmed up, still warm to this minute, and I just got too hyper, and I just quit my Armour Thyroid. I know, I should have weaned off. I don't listen to my own advice sometimes. I apologize. So that's the mailbag, Ginny. We're good to go.
Oh, gosh, golly. Okay, very good. Excellent, excellent. Okay, let's see where we're at with everybody and everything. Nancy said hello. Thank you. She said she knows she's going to be fine, and thank you for the feedback. So that was very sweet. Catherine said, Dr. Dean, can you tell me if cocomidol leaches magnesium? I take 4 times 30/500.
Cocomidol, I don't know that. Let's see if I can find it. Cocamidopropyl? Don't know. Can you spell it for me?
Yeah, she typed it out in the chat line as COCODAMOL.
Alrighty. It's a codeine acetaminophen analgesic. Codeine acetaminophen. Well, codeine isn't so great, but it's not a fluoride drug. You can look it up on Wiki, and it's not a fluoride drug. That's my criteria for a drug having side effects. But don't know. I mean, it will put a strain on the liver to detoxify it, so I would just maybe take some extra Remag if you're taking a medication. I'm not going to tell you to stop it because it's a strong pain medication, and you probably require it. That's why you're taking it. And,
okay.
I'm kind of fudging a bit because I don't want to just say, oh, yeah, go ahead, take the drug, because I think that high-dose Remag lotion, going for massage, trying to find a myofascial release practitioner can be very helpful.
Yeah, very good, very good. Okay, and let me, Bonita typed in and said that, you know what, and we don't talk that much about arnica on the show, but what do you think about arnica for pain relief?
Oh, gosh, of course, yeah. Yeah, I used to carry arnica with me all the time for my falls. Arnica for acute pain is excellent. I haven't used it much for chronic pain. There are Traumeel and arnica creams that people will put on pain sites. Plastic surgeons have gotten into arnica because it helps stop the bruising after plastic surgery. So, yeah, arnica for sure is very important.
Okay, very good. Bonita types in 4 minutes to the top of the hour. Dr. Dean, you mentioned that you held off on taking any calcium for a year or so while you were saturating with Remag. This is what I will try to do as well. How do you know when to start taking calcium again? Thanks.
Yeah, for me, I got little knee pains, and somehow my intuition told me, oh, maybe I need some more calcium. And so that's when actually I created Recalcia, because I knew calcium supplements were not well absorbed, and it was when I was still avoiding dairy. Now that I'm on keto, I rarely take Recalcia, and I'm sorry to put down Recalcia. I should be telling everyone to take it, but it's only there if you require it. You only buy Recalcia if you can't get enough in your diet. So if you're on the keto diet, then you are getting some calcium if you're on dairy products. I know it's a roundabout answer, and there's no definitive yes/no on when to take the Recalcia. I'm sorry, Benita. I have failed you. It's time.
No, I don't think so. I know when to take Recalcia because my knees start to hurt, and I can tell I need a little calcium pick me up. Yeah, I think that kind of stuff, Recalcia definitely helps. Catherine also typed in and said that she's taking the cocomidol for fibromyalgia.
Well then, yeast detox and lots of Remag. You will be amazed at how important detoxifying yeast is with fibromyalgia. So please look at that.
Yes, and what did we learn about fibromyalgia at the thingy, Carolyn, at the NIH? Catherine, just for your edification.
You tell her. I forget.
Catherine, what we learned is that Dr. Mike Leonardo, who's the head of immunology at the NIH, is saying that fibromyalgia and especially Epstein-Barr also, which are related, are definitely magnesium deficiency-related symptoms. And they are very concerned about magnesium deficiency in the immune system. So you've got to pay attention to your magnesium saturation points and get rid of your yeast in your body. And we have lots of testimonials of people who are like, I wish somebody would have told me this a long time ago because I've suffered for many years with this fibromyalgia. So just definitely bump up your Remag. You've got to get some Pico Silver going. You've got to get on the yeast reset. If you have any questions, you can chat into customer service or email us at support, SUPPORT, at rnareset.com. But you'll be stunned when you got to just do it hard. You got to do it hard for at least 14 days to give yourself a real break, and then you'll see, and you won't turn back. Pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Carolyn, another amazing radio show. It's incredible.
Yeah, it was very fun. Very great show. Thank you, all you listeners, now and in the future. And thank you, Bob, for your input, and Bill, and Jenny especially. Jenny is awesome. Let's have a yay for you, Jenny, please. Yay.
Oh, you guys, hey, it's my joy and my pleasure. Thanks, everybody. You're going to tune in next week. We're going to have more rousing, fun information for you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you, Bob.
You've been listening to Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com. Till next time, so long, and thanks for all the fish.
AchieveRadio.com.